You're live.
Hi.
Hi, Eva.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
So, show us your jewelry. What do you? That's cool. So,
These are rings, and you can wear them in different ways. You can put them this way, and then you can do this.
somebody here, Shot Mulder says they love that ring.
Thanks.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's her number one fan.
Thanks. Yeah. So like this, it becomes a little, kind
It's a
of
little
like
dangerous.
becomes a little crab hand.
Cool. And how did you learn to do this?
I studied sculpture many years ago, and I just have a love for.
So you make these yourself?
Yeah, I hand carve these, and then I have them produced in New York City.
So you make a mold.
I first carve things out of wax, and then I have them cast in bronze or silver, and then I refine them further, and then I have a mold make out of them. But I love like all my originals and all.
So
these
you're
ones.
actually physically
Yes.
doing this
Yes,
yourself.
yes.
So you're total artist, like
Yes.
total sculptor.
Yeah, I'm a sculptor.
And I see in your ear, is that the same?
Yeah, it's the same collection.
It's earrings.
It's earrings, rings. I focused on rings because I think only on hand that your jewelry as a sculpture becomes alive. With the
Only your
movement.
hand, the jewelry as a sculpture. Explain that.
Only like so earrings are kind of like just decoration on your face. But when you put a piece of jewelry on your hand with the gesture and movement, it becomes alive. Because it's also gets opportunity to be observed.
Oh, so it's moving around like
Yeah.
your head doesn't
Yeah.
really move. You're more controlling.
Yeah, and here, like you can move. I don't know how much you see, but like for me, it's most interesting this view, like the view that your partner in conversation gets. It's the view that's most interesting to me for my jewelry, like what you see, like from here. So that's why I focus on on overall appearance, not only just like me looking down on my pieces.
But just the appearance from afar.
Becoming alive as we argue.
As you argue a lot. Are these pieces supposed to be arguing, and do they?
No. I think of them as they follow the natural movement of the hand, so they are meant to. I think of them as dormant and resting.
They're at rest.
Yes.
Okay. And then are they supposed to come alive?
No, they're not.
They're not. So
you can move them around and do this with them, and then they become something that you hold.
And why would you do that?
Because it's just like you can.
Just like a different look.
Yeah, different look or different. It's like it's your. Yeah, I think of them as your little allies, but more mentally than physically. Like I'm joking when I'm saying argue. Like they're like they're an extension of your body in a way, and they follow your movement, and they're a little clean slate for you to like kind of just focus through.
And so you studied sculpture.
Yeah.
And then where did you study sculpture?
I studied sculpture in Serbia.
Oh, okay.
And then when I came to New York, I went to school again to FIT to study jewelry design.
God, how long ago?
I graduated in 2006.
And where did you say you started? Where was
In Serbia.
No, here. Where did you?
FIT. Fashion.
Oh, FIT. Okay.
Yeah.
Heard of it. I can spell it even.
Yeah, FIT.
FIT. I'm very good. I'm very good with that kind of stuff. Okay, and so you studied there.
Yeah.
And then you started doing your own stuff.
I started doing my own stuff, and that was like in 2006 and 7. I had like a great opportunity to work with this very cool young designer. Her name is Alice Roy. So I did some jewelry for her fashion runway shows. And then in 2008, I started working for a couple of big companies, and then for 3 years I designed for Givenchy for American markets. And then my last year in corporate, I was the design director for Robert Lee Morris.
You were where? It was what?
A design director for Robert Lee Morris.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, super cool.
And then you went off on your own.
Yeah, like a year.
And
year
how have you
now.
enjoyed? Do you enjoy that more?
Yeah, I mean, I always worked on my own stuff. Before, I would wake up at 6 a.m., work for a couple of, hour, a little before I go to work, and then I would work
You
again.
would work on your own, on
Yeah.
the sculpturing side?
Or more on jewelry, because I was like it was more like product development. I'm kind of really fascinated with the process. So it wasn't, even though it was the form, it was jewelry. I was really more interested in resolving like a design and fabrication projects or problems. And now, last year, I'm focusing on honing my idea, clarifying my thoughts, transferring them into a form, and making my statement. And my statement is, everything you do shows where you stand in the world. And the more clear, clarified, and clean you are, the more responsible you are towards yourself and to the world, and more respect you show.
So you're really trying to make a pretty bold statement with the jewelry. It's not just like, here's my art.
Yeah, and I arrived at it because I was always concerned with certain things about nurture and nurture for the earth mostly, more than anything else, and even when I was a little kid. So now it's really like a high time for it, and number one. Number two, I also don't like being overwhelmed with so many junk thoughts, which are inevitable.
So it helps you.
So it helps me, but it's also like
focused.
it's like, these are little clean slates, and whether it comes to what you're eating or eating less or spending less money on like bad clothes or not having 55,000. I'm sorry, but no. But I mean, it's not about buying 55,000 things. It's about like really clarifying to yourself who you are and what you stand for, and then making those choices that reflect that. And I think this is the moment that we are all, I think, trying to do that. So I'm just kind of like fitting into that, and I want my jewelry to be an illustration or propagator of that, or to be a vehicle for it or medium for that.
Awesome. Very good. Thank you.
Thanks.